Dirt Track with Bucky from Moto Survival School. We got a bunch of, I think these are called R3s. Gonna try and stuff these up today on the track, learn to lay some knee. Hopefully I'll leave you with some good information. Stay tuned, it'll be a fun day.
From New York City just for this. 3,000 miles for Bucky.
Damn. That's what they do.
There you go. And for the LA Auto Show and some other things and some meetings. I think my main thing, I would love to work on body positioning. Haven't been on a racetrack in about 2 years on a motorcycle, so we'll see how that goes.
I'm Brian from LA, so it was only a 2-hour drive versus like all that travel time. Riding level, been riding with Tyler since high school, but he took it to a whole nother level and I just kept it to the road putting and occasional track day. And I did whatever that BMW Superbike school is. Left there with 0 extra knowledge.
Nice.
Two grand less in my wallet. And
You do level 1 and 2?
Yeah,
okay.
the 2-day. And then Tyler and I were hanging out recently and he's like, hey, come train with Bucky. I was like, well, I still haven't touched my knee to the ground, so I'd like to be able to.
Okay, yeah, it's an important milestone, right? A really cool thing to do. You'll never forget it. Although you'll ask Tyler, he hardly ever drags, right? It's a big milestone to be able to do that. Although it isn't necessarily, if your goal's going fast, it isn't the biggest priority, right? If you're just riding around and want it like cool pictures and all that, then we can definitely work towards that.
I had the picture like him and the snake almost touching his elbow.
Right. Well, he's lanky as fuck too, so you have to realize that.
I was cheating.
He's got unfair advantage,
I
like
see you doing the fucking one-handed through there with the GoPro.
Yeah, that's because my arms are short and I can't touch my elbow everywhere, so I have to compensate for doing other stuff. You know what I mean?
Like this motherfucker's got one hand on the steering wheel.
Yeah. So, welcome to the track. Welcome to Moto Survival School. We're gonna start out the first session with basically following laps, right? There's only 2 of us today, but we're still gonna go one after another in a procession line, and I'll be showing you the lines. And I don't think you saw the video, right? Okay, so you'll be learning. First objective for you is to learn the layout of the track, right? Hopefully after a couple laps, you can start saying, okay, I know what's coming next. I know what's coming next, because this is like wrestling, not chess, where we want to be one move ahead, not several moves, right? I want you to go in back. Cole will be in front because you did get the video.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I'll lead you around a couple laps, and then you can pay attention to the layout, and then try to pay attention to where I'm positioning myself on the track. There's a reason for that.
Okay.
Okay. And we're gonna be going really slow. I want you to be super comfortable, right? When the first hand signal you're gonna see is me tapping my tail. If you see that throughout the day, it means to follow me. If you see Tyler doing it, it means to follow him, right? And when we say follow, we mean comfortably close behind us and not offline, right? If we look back and you're offline, where I'm on the outside entering the turn and you're on the inside, that's a no-no. So I'm gonna do this, right? I'm just basically gonna say like, hey, you need to line up with me, all right?
You gotta be the ghost driver in Gran Turismo.
Yeah, I make that reference all the time, and not many people know it. They're like, oh, maybe, So, yeah, and then the next hand signal you're gonna see is I'm gonna wave you on, right? I might do this to remind you, hey, we're taking it easy, right? Because as soon as I unleash you from following me, I want you to go at 60% of your ability, right? And everyone's 60% will look different. Tyler's 60% is gonna be faster than my 60%. I'm gonna be faster than Cole's, and everyone has their own, right? Basically at 60%, you shouldn't be running off the track. You shouldn't be making big mistakes, right? You should be pretty comfortable on there like you're Sunday cruising. Yeah, so we're basically doing 60% because the track is still warming up, right? It was 40 degrees overnight, so the adhesion's only gonna get better. We have all day to ride. We're warming up our mind and our bodies, and we're gonna get used to the bikes as well. You guys have any questions as far as that goes? Okay, so if you just think about it, where this tree is, straight behind it is an opening in the track. That's gonna be our entrance, right? And I'll lead you guys out there, and you guys will pick that up really quick. And then I don't know if you guys noticed, there's like a big bold turn all the way in the back. That's a left-hander, and it goes onto a straightaway. That's what I call the exit straight, because there's an opening on the left side over here, and that's where we're gonna be exiting. Have you been on the track before? No, but you have. How do you indicate that you're exiting the track? Check him out.
Oh.
Left hand up.
I thought you meant, have I been to this track?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, so exit procedure, yeah? Yeah, we're gonna put up our left hand as soon as we come out from that hairpin and we see notice that our session is done. Usually there's a flag. It might just, if it's just motorcyclists, we might just be going on and off whenever we want. The fast guys can sort it out if they want to be with us or just. Where you might have to, you still will have room for improvement, right? And the great thing is that I go through those videos and I critique them and I leave notes with timestamps, and I'll send that to you guys so that you can actually not only have a cool souvenir of you ripping around the track, but you can also start identifying where you can improve and be like, oh, I messed this up, you know? So being able to see yourself on film and make those mistakes, well, while you may not realize it real time on the bike, you start picking up on the things in the video. So it's a souvenir and learning tool.
And another big thing too, especially when we're doing body position and stuff, when I work with guys, it's like they start doing new positions, they're like, okay, like this feels crazy, like super leaned over, and then you see the video and it looks like you barely moved over, like barely. And I'm like, see, I'm telling you, you got a long way to go. Like, no, I swear I was doing it. It's like, you're doing it better, but look at where you're at compared to, let's say, a more experienced rider. It's leaned way the heck over, you know. So it's nice to have that visual reference to kind of see, okay, wow, I do have a lot more to go, you know, because it always feels like you're doing it excessively, but could be. There's always
Scooting by, don't worry.
Say again?
I see you scooting by.
Just warming up the tires.
Sometimes it feels I'm just leaning my body and not actually the bike.
Oh, it's perfect.
Right?
We want to do
That's
that.
actually what
we
you
want to
want.
do that.
Yeah.
If you look at MotoGP, if you see the outside, like a camera outside perspective, like if it's a left turn, the camera's here, all you see is an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
The rider's literally on the completely inside of the bike. You don't even see their helmet, you don't see anything, you just see an arm and a leg.
And do you
That's how
know the
far
whole
over
reason
that.
behind that is why we get onto the inside of the bike? Like right now, I'll tell you, there was a turn that you took where you had a lot of lean angle on the bike, and I was like, oh, that's pretty good, right? But we improve on that and resolve all the bike lean with you leaning in, right? When we're going through a turn, we experience a physical force called Centripetal Force. A lot of people call it G-force because, you know, when you're going through the turn, you can feel a little heavy and stuff like that. But it's actually a force that pushes you outward. In the cars, it's a lot easier to not feel that as much because you have four wheels basically anchoring yourself to the tarmac. Whereas with the bikes, they have like conical shaped tires, so when they lean over, they have more of a tendency to go outright or outward, right? So the way that we fight that force is by actually getting our center mass over and inside. So that's why, just like Tyler explained, is why you see the MotoGP guys all the way in there practically dragging their hip on the ground because they're leaned over so much. They're fighting the centripetal force.
And another huge factor to caveat off that is the feeling of the bike. When you're more leaned over, the closer you are to the floor, the better representation of how far leaned over you are. If your head's way up high above the screen, you're very disconnected from the asphalt. So being disconnected, it's deceiving how far you're leaned over, especially at the R3s. It's really deceiving. You might not think like, oh, I'm not that far leaned over, and like the foot peg's like this far from the ground, you know? But the closer you get your body to the ground and the asphalt's like right here, it's really easy to see the perception when it's closer. Your eyes are closer to the ground. So it kind of gives you more of a self-preservation feeling. When you're up here, you're kind of detached from the bike.
They should sell pucks that are an extra 3 inches thick.
The rain pucks.
the Lorenzo pugs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys, you've taken a class before and you've taken one before. Let me ask you, what's your explanation of an apex? You've heard of an apex, yeah?
Yeah.
So how would you describe it to someone that doesn't know?
Hit the line right.
Okay. Let me ask you this: is the apex a general area, or is it a specific point? General area. Okay. What do you say? Specific point or general area?
I say a specific point.
Okay. It's more of a specific point, right? Let me ask you this: disregard the whole general or specific. Where is it located on the track? Like, is it located if you're going to a turn? Is it located on the outside, middle, or inside of the turn?
Inside of the turn.
Inside of the turn. That's right. So it's located on the inside. Is that where you want to position yourself?
No.
No.
Start on the outside and work towards the inside.
Right, but ultimately you do want to hit that apex, right? You basically want to run over a spot you've picked on the inside. So the technical definition that I like is the innermost part of the turn that you, well, damn, I totally ruined that.
No worries.
It's the closest to the...
We can take that in
Yeah, cut. Action. Okay, so the apex is the closest that you come to the inside of the turn, right? And I like the fact that you already said, yeah, we like to approach it from the outside of the turn, or the entrance of the turn, go inside. And if it's a single turn, where do we want to end up on the exit? Inside, middle, or outside?
Outside.
Outside, right? Yeah, you kind of gather that from the motorcycle licensing class, right? Do you know what the objective of taking an outside line is? Cole?
Outside, inside.
Why are we taking that line? What
Get
does
more
that give
speed,
us?
right? It's speed, but I would say the safest way around the
Why is it safe?
Moto Survival.
Why is it safe? What does our line look like if we drew like a dotted line of your path? If we followed so there's like where you go outside, inside, outside. Show something where you just parallel the actual layout of the
It gives
of
you
the
the
track.
most amount of space for error.
Right? But
So-
let's take those two lines, right, for the first part. Which of those two lines is straighter? Overall straighter.
First one.
The very first one, right? Outside, inside, outside, right? Now let's put that in line with our thoughts. Anytime we've gone on a freeway, right, and we hold the throttle open, and we're going 65 miles an hour, does it feel like we're gonna fall over? Or does the bike feel pretty stable and we feel relatively safe?
Good to go.
As long as we're good at the speed, right? Yeah. When we're on the throttle, associate the word stabilize or stable with the way the bike feels, right? Now, think about any time you were riding where it feels like you're gonna fall over. What were you typically doing? Were you leaning the bike?
Yeah.
Were you going through a turn? Yeah, you were leaning. Okay, well that's definitely a cardinal error, right? But we're usually leaned over, right? So we can associate the word lean with the word risk. We're most at risk of falling over when we're leaning the bike. On those two lines, which line is gonna have the least amount of risk? The straighter line?
Straighter line. Yeah.
Right, so that's exactly why we've learned in the motorcycle licensing class why we go outside, inside, outside. We use the most room and it's the safest because we have the least amount of risk, right? So, any questions on that? Okay, so what we're gonna go do now is, I don't know if you've already noticed some of the cones. If the cones are laid down, that's gonna indicate an apex.
Okay.
If they're stood up, that's either going to be, it could be a brake marker, which we don't really have set up right now. It could be an exit cone. Like if you look at these two cones right here, you see the two cones on the outside? The first one is going to be the exit. That's the cone that we're going to want to point the bike towards as we're driving out. And then the next cone is going to be our turn-in point, which is a bit early, so I have to move it back a little bit. But you can use those cones, especially like around this first turn, that's the exit straightaway, right? As we turn in the second part of the turn, can you point at that turn-in cone for the second into the chicane? Yeah. So you'll notice that there's an apex cone. Where's the apex cone, Tyler? At the beginning of that apron, basically. No. The
This guy?
Yeah.
It's like leading.
Honestly, I don't remember one being there.
Okay, well just put it at the beginning of the apron.
No, there's one. This might lead though.
Yeah. So you'll see a cone laid down around there, and I'll go and adjust it right now. And then the second one, not only does it mark where you want to turn in, but it also marks that you want to be closer to it. Both of you guys are going way in the middle of the turn. Do you guys realize that it feels a little uncomfortable going through that chicane? Like you have to lean the bike a lot and you can't get on the throttle?
Yeah.
If you want to make an objective for this session, let's hit all the apex cones, okay? And then also get as straight a line as possible through the chicane. If you get it correctly and you wait, if you get next to that cone and then turn in, that chicane is a quick right and a quick left. But if you get it right, you should be able to turn right and then have a straight line going through. You shouldn't have to lean the bike left, hardly anything, if anything at all. You can go up on the curb just a little bit. I would suggest anything you do in riding is always baby steps, right? The first time, hit it right on the line of the asphalt and the curb. If that feels fine, then the next lap, go 3 inches in. If that feels fine, go 3 inches in, and that, you should probably call that good, right?
Yeah.
Just feel it out. As long as you kind of maybe lift your butt off the seat just like this much and have your shock absorbers, engaged, they can do this. It'll absorb a lot of that impact to where it's not gonna feel like it's gonna throw the bike somewhere that you don't wanna be, okay? So apex execution, learning the track still, and try to get that chicane as straight as possible. I'll definitely get, and Tyler will as well, get in front of you guys and show you the line. It really helps if you get next to that turning cone. You guys are starting from the middle, you're cutting your width in half. You're doing yourself a disservice, okay? And then to go with that, if you cut it in half, you're gonna have a lot more lean, which is, what did I say? You're associating it with, what word?
Speed, very low risk.
Risk. Yeah, if you have to lean the bike a lot because you're starting from half of the track, you're gonna have a lot more risk as well. So we're trying to solidify everything, make it relatively safe, and that'll actually allow us to go faster and feel a little more comfortable. Okay, let me go ahead and suit up, get on the bikes. Tyler will lead you out. I'm gonna go get the cones and make sure that they're correct.
Okay.
Cool.
And another thing too, we'll start early, body position. I want your guys, like, if this is your spine while you're, like, pretend this is your arms on the bars, right? And this is your spine. The straighter your spine, the more you're not gonna mesh with the bike, the more you're fighting it. The more curved your spine, the more you're able to absorb shock, and the bike can work under you without getting your body upset. So if we have a curved back, chest over, tits over the tank, you're gonna be, well, make them. Imagine if you had crayons on your nips, and you want to draw a straight line across the tank. If you're pointing at the speedo, you're not doing it right. So you want them down, tits down, drawing a straight line on the tank.
Crayon your nips.
Alright guys, amazing day at Apex Kart Track with Moto Survival School. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you want to see on the next episode.